Samara Stone here. Welcome back to my channel. A quick look at current events will make it crystal clear that for us mental health professionals, especially those of us that are in any way interested in building businesses for ourselves, there is a huge just flow of dynamics that are happening around us that will have a real big deal on the way we function in 2025. Listen, I have never seen in my almost 20 years of being in business a set of circumstances that feel this unique and ripe for positioning mental health professionals to do more and to show up differently in the way we do what we do. So I'll tell you what kind of started me in thinking about all of this. And it's funny how one thing will come to your awareness, and then another thing comes to your awareness, and then starting to watch how they all kind of weave together will paint a picture in your mind of like, wow, let me take a look at the lay of the land. I like to call that the eagle eye view, not where you're like, down in the minutia, but high enough up to see various dynamics and how they might be working together. So the first thing I noticed is just like how it's been for the last several elections, when we come up to making a decision about the presidency, this nation is so very just drastically polarized. And the effect that that has on families or even just our own sense of safety and mental health has been huge, especially for Black women who showed out in great numbers, somewhere to the upwards of 92% of Black women voting in a particular fashion. That lets you know that the tide of the way that things are moving in the country is drastically different than what we'd anticipated, right? I even see this in some of the Facebook communities that therapists are in, where they kind of say, well, let's just leave politics out of it. We don't want to talk anything about politics. And I understand the desire to make it so, but you really can't disconnect from politics 100% because it does impact the way that your clients feel, it impacts the way you feel. And so here we are in this stew pot of political just upset that's been brewing for months and really has come to a head and actually is only going to continue to grow, right? There's dynamic number one. Then I noticed how the decrease in uh, the sense of confidence that people have with health insurance companies. There was an issue maybe about a week or two ago where a young man actually killed a CEO of United Healthcare on the streets in New York. And it turns out that this young man is actually from the Gilman School here in Baltimore, Maryland. He graduated from there and went on to Ivy League. And the moment that I saw that this man had been murdered, I knew in my heart that it was a John Q type situation. I was like, this has something to do with his level of disgruntledness with the health insurance industry. And sure enough, it is kind of ferreting out that that is the case. This is happening alongside me observing the level of disgruntledness that therapists have with the insurance companies. Now, this is not a new dynamic. There has continually been just a huge chasm between how insurance companies function and what therapists feel they need to thrive in business. And although our clients absolutely want to use their insurance, that huge chasm between us being able to make it happen smoothly has been a problem for many years. This is not new. What is new is that this is the first year I actually saw insurance companies lower the reimbursement rates that they were giving to therapists for the work they do at a time when the demand for services could not be higher, right? So this is not that this is not a necessary service and that people don't need this. It's clear that they need it, but there's been a new third party, Headway, Alma, Grow. These companies have come in and renegotiated contracts in ways that have lowered our leveraging power in being able to ask for what we need, right? There's just no way around that, right? Like this is a reality of something that is happening around us. And so, right at a time when the stigma around mental health is lower than it's ever been, everybody wants a therapist. So, the need is great, but trying to bridge the gap on how we get reimbursed for our services is getting wider and wider, right? And to the point of the amount of folks that are interested in mental health. That is something that I'm so glad to see that happening on a variety for a variety of reasons. I mean, of course, we want people to be able to access quality mental health care, right? We want them to take good care of themselves. I've always wanted that. In the 20 years, it'll be 20 years in January of 2025 that I've been in business. So by the time you guys are reading this, it might be right around my 20th anniversary of being in business as a mental health professional. We've never seen the kind of influx of clients that have come into the mental health field from COVID and beyond, right? And so, one of the things I'm seeing people do, especially post COVID, is flinging open the doors of a private practice and, confidently filling it with all, hodgepodge of clients. Now, the issue of creating a niche so that you're seeing clients you love and avoiding burnout, we'll talk about that in another video. But there's not been that big of a challenge of being able to open the doors of your practice if you're working with insurance and get clients coming through the door. And I think because some therapists are a little overwhelmed with all of the administrative minutia required to run a pro insurance practice, I'm beginning to see more and more of them rely on AI for note taking, right? Or having AI build your treatment plans, or having AI, just farming out key components of the therapeutic process, or at least the administrative side of the therapeutic and the documentation side of the therapeutic process, farming that out to artificial intelligence. And while I can see that that's helpful, especially in a practice where you're seeing the upwards of 25 clients a week, you're overwhelmed, there's a lot happening, it makes sense that we would do that. But to what cost? There are companies that are advocating for having AI meet some of the basic needs in the mental health space, right? Which combined with all those other dynamics that I just shared with you, really does represent some potential risks, risk factors, threats to us as we're growing as a profession you know so when I think about the critical mass of all of this, the political upset, the issues people are having with the insurance companies, the real challenges with getting good reimbursement rates, the high need for services and the burnout that therapists are facing in trying to meet that need, and then this odd reliance on AI that's beginning to develop within some therapeutic communities. You can see we have a real stew pot of challenges that are before us. Well, here's what I know for sure, that in the midst of these kinds of upheavals, there is always opportunity. The truth is, we're growing and we're going to continue to grow as a field. And we get to decide how we are going to prune ourselves in that growth process. And so, one of the things I have been working heavily on with my clients for the past, I would say, 2 or 3 years since COVID, is defining new ways for you to leverage your skills and abilities so that you can do more than therapy and make money doing it. We are no longer at a time frame where you can open a private practice, accept insurance, have 20 clients, and have that be a living rate for you and from now until 20, 30 years from now. Not only is that a recipe for burnout for some, because not all of us are meant to be high volume clinicians, it also might mean that you're vulnerable to some of the financial instabilities that are happening in the insurance industry. Okay. And so now more than ever, you need a money matrix. You need a variety of ways that you can bring money into your business. And there are so many. I love the creativity and unique positioning that therapists can create for themselves when they're really focused on building a business around themselves. One that centers your strengths, that centers your abilities, that takes into account your lifestyle and kind of what works for you so that you can be healthy and well equipped to do this work, right? It is possible for you to design something. I know some women who are working full-time jobs, but part-time they're building their expertise as a speaker or they're writing a book. Or maybe they are full-time in their own private practice, seeing about 15 clients a week, but the rest of the time they're a consultant to some corporation. There's a variety of ways that you can accomplish this. And so, what I really want to encourage you right now at the top of the year is to be thoughtful about what kind of business you need to design to help you avoid burnout, optimize your impact, and increase the amount of money that you're able to make over time. These are things that are going to take you off the beaten path of just opening a private practice that accepts insurance. And I'd be the first one to say that that's a great way to begin your business. There's nothing wrong with starting your business with that as a foundation. But I need to prepare you to go beyond the couch if you and your business are going to thrive in a dynamic and shifting zeitgeist like the one that we're living in moving towards 2025. So if this lands, I'd love to hear from you. If you know that there are unique dynamics at play that might change the way you need to operate your business in 2025, let's talk. I'd love to see in the comments if I missed a dynamic that you know is going to be important in the way we structure ourselves in 2025, but maybe I didn't mention it, right? Or if there's an angle in how some of these dynamics are impacting therapists that I didn't consider. Let's keep this conversation going so that therapists are well equipped to handle the emerging challenges of this new year, right? I really want to take this moment to say how grateful I am for having an opportunity to share these types of conversations. 20 years ago, when I first opened my private practice, I promise you there was nothing like this available for therapists, right? It just wasn't. And so that's one of the reasons I'm so committed to always showing up for mental health professionals, making sure they understand the variety of options that are available to them and feel supported to put yourself out there and try. Right? So, if this is your first time visiting my channel, go ahead and subscribe. We are going to be bringing some real interesting content for the remainder of the year. And there's already some videos on here that might resonate with you and give you some insights that you've not thought about. Share it with a therapist friend, right? Like make sure that this video gets in the hands of people that you know it can be helpful for. All right. Take good care of yourself. And together, let's take good care of business. All right. Bye bye.